Thanks for tuning into the BoshNRoll channel. Liking the video and subscribing to the channel are free and easy for you, and they help me out a lot. If you want to go further with your support, Patreon and YouTube membership offer access to the BoshNRoll Discord community, early access to lists, written content, things like that. You can have me play your deck on the channel, and the highest tiers come with individual coaching sessions. If you use YouTube membership, you also get sweet badges and emotes integrated here into YouTube. You can support the channel while you shop at tcgplayer.com by using my affiliate link in the video description, and you can play any deck anytime by using a cardhoarder.com loan account on Magic Online. If you want to wear your support, check out the merch store. And of course, thanks for being here. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome to another BoshNRoll Legacy video. Today, at the request of Patreon subscriber Dalton, I am playing a hybrid Bant Zenith, Bant Food Chain Yorion list. Basically, what Dalton said is he couldn't decide between Food Chain or Dark Bant, and decided to kind of split the difference and put them both into a Yorion shell. I'd like to point out first that we're not actually even close to the deck that we've been calling Dark Bant. This is closer to the 4-color Zenith deck, and that deck, while having all the same colors as Dark Bant, was just a very different deck. They sort of like dipped into black for things like Leovold and Grist, while mostly just being a Bant deck. Dark Bant is a full 4-color deck. Like, there are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 basics in this deck. Dark Bant gets to play 1 or 0, and it's just like a very different thing. So we're closer to the 4-color Yorion deck than we are to Dark Bant, but there is definitely Food Chain jammed into here. The power of the Food Chain deck in general, whether it be Rug, Bant, Bug, however you choose to build it, is that it gets to be a control deck and also threaten to be a combo deck at any time. Like Uro, and we've got Uro, then Manipulate Fate is kind of draw 4, 2-mana draw 4, because you get to exile 2 Misthollow Griffins and an Eternal Scourge, which you can cast from exile, and this is a cantrip. And you're also drawing cards with like Abundant Growth. You got Ponder, Swords to Plowshares, Brainstorm, all this normal stuff, Endurance, Leovold, Grist. All those cards are just also Dark Ritual sitting in play for when you're ready to go with Food Chain. And if your opponent goes too heavy towards your fair plan, you get them with the combo plan. If they go heavy towards your combo plan, you just beat them with Uro, and you're a mid-range Bant control deck. That aspect of this list is still intact, and this has gone even bigger by playing Yorion, which means that we're going to see Food Chain less often because there's more cards in our deck. And our specific payoffs, like Food Chain, 60-card Food Chain does frequently end up in spots where it's like, okay, I resolved a Food Chain when the coast was clear. Now I got to find a payoff creature, and then I'm good to go. And playing to those board states is going to be a lot thinner because of the extra 20 cards in the deck. But the fair plan is going to be a lot hardier. We have Yorion itself, the old 8-mana 4/5. That will probably draw a couple of cards with Abundant Growths laying around. And the Green Sun Zenith package does give us Primeval Titan at the top end. We got Field of the Dead in this pile, along with Life from the Loam. So it's doing a little bit of that too. Zenith can grab a Leovold or a Grist. Recruiter of the Guard is in the deck to go off with Food Chain. You can recruit for Hydroid Krasis and then draw your deck to cast Walking Ballista, or just get Ballista if that makes more sense. And it's also a cool card to flicker with Yorion, so there's some overlap there. That's what's going on here. My first thoughts looking at this deck is I think I would want to be just pure Bant if I were doing this on my own. I'm going to roll with Dalton's color spread for this league, but we are only black for Grist, Leovold, and the 4th color on Prismatic Ending. And we can get the 4th and 5th colors off Prismatic Ending just with Abundant Growth anyway, so you don't even really need black mana in your deck to do that. And if we were to cut the black cards, we could get Icefang Coatl in here, which is a great card because it buys you time, digs you deeper into your deck, goes with Yorion, and is mana sitting in play when you find the Food Chain. I would kind of... I imagine the consistency of that is going to be better than stretching for these 2 black cards, but these are 2 powerful black cards, and I'm going to try it as Dalton suggested. We're just going to keep an eye on how good these black cards are during the league and how often we would have missed Ice Fang Quaddle. The mana base, if you have any concerns about it, one of Dalton's stipulations, really the only one, was that he only owns one of each dual land. So I can't load up. Like, I would probably have slightly fewer basic islands in the deck and have more tropical islands and tundras in here, but that is not in Dalton's range to build. We're also a Field of the Dead deck, so diversifying mana or land names makes sense. This list definitely has room to lean towards buy time until I combo as a main strategy, or it could lean farther back and just be more fair in mid-range and just sort of have food chain around. That's kind of the side we're on now. It could go deeper. I would kind of want to lean it in the other direction with the Quaddles, but I'm going to roll with this as it is. I did add a third Uro. Dalton's original list only had 2. I actually think the deck should have 4, but the next cut would be Leovold. And then if I'm cutting Leovold, I'm just going all the way banned for the Quaddles, and I'm trying to leave Dalton's deck kind of intact here. So, Uro, in your 80 card Bant deck with Field of the Dead and Light from the Loam, I would want this as a 4 of, probably. It's also good with Food Chain, because you can play Uro for 3 mana, draw a card, gain life, then eat it for 4 mana. Just a cantripping Dark Ritual along the way. But this is where I'm going to settle with this one. Let's jump in and see how this works. I'm on the Draw and Ren one. I'm going to keep this hand. It's got an Abundant Growth and a Ponder. Let's go. I can pitch Hydroid Krasis to force if I need to. Oh well, that's looking likely. Lotus Petal, Faithless Looting. I'm going to force the Faithless Looting because that probably will deny them creatures in their actual graveyard too. And if this is a deck like Madness, then you definitely want to hit the Enabler. I'm going to get Snow Forest. I'll pretend I have Quaddles, even if I don't. Ooh, awkward that I have blue here on this Abundant Growth that is my green and black source for Grist. Ponder can help with that, I hope. Here, Ponder, let's go. Food Chain and Manipulate. Those are both good ones. Okay. Not going to shuffle. And I'll pass the turn. They have 6 cards in hand right now. At 8, they can discard to hand size and do stuff. Okay, here's Food Chain off the top. I'm going to stick that now. Just invest in the future. Then I can manipulate into creatures and mana next turn. Oh shit, but that doesn't clear the prismatic ending that I don't really want. Oh, they found mana, so they actually were just mana screwed this whole time, not going to discard. This is a little tricky, but I guess I'm gonna manipulate fate and hope I'm not dead. Oh wow, they just conceded? I don't know that they know how Food Chain works, because I would have exiled a 3-drop and 2 4-drops. I have no way to get to the first 3 mana. I would have had to draw, like, the actual cantrip draw card line on Manipulate Fate would have had to hit a 1 or 2 drop creature. Yikes. Okay. Got away with that one. We appear to have some sort of reanimator strategy. Surgical Extraction for sure, Flusterstorm for sure, Hydro Blast and Veil are maybes. Deafening Silence also maybes, but probably want those. So if we get into the part of the game where I need a cantrip to stay relevant, like the Ponder into Abundant Growth, into Brainstorm, sort of like keep things going, I'm really going to regret having Deafening Silence in the deck. But let's rank these as such. Deafening Silence, Hydroblast. All right, Flusterstorm and Surgical are yes. Veil are probably. Hydroblast and Deafening Silence are maybes after the fact. Prismatic Ending, not going to be great here. I do want anything that's blue for forces. Loam is probably not going to come up big in this matchup. Are there any techie lands I don't need? Not really. I mean, Beseiju could clip like a Animate Dead or something. Noble Hierarch, probably not great here. In the fast mana it matters, it is also a green card, but whatever. Gotta cut something. The first Manipulate Fate is completely cracked. Subsequent ones are not good. Maybe Primetime should come out, because if they like unmask me and reanimate my Primetime, that's gonna feel pretty bad. Okay. I'm cool with this setup. Let's do it. I have 10 free spells, 4 Force of Will, 2 of Negation, 2 Endurance, and 2 Surgical. Okay, Force of Negation is present. Zagoth Triumph, not exactly inspiring, but I'm in. Not going to send a hand that can interact and hit a land drop. Opponent kept 5. Let's new my mix 4. Ship in the turn. Yeah, if they entomb on my turn, it cuts Force of Negation down as an out, but I just drew Surgical. That was a good one. Show me the entomb. They just drew. Didn't play a thing. Now I have Force and Surgical. If they have Discard Spell, I have a way to fight. Grief. Okay. Can't interact with that one. Oh, they stacked the Evoke backwards. That's such a tease. Because now I could Surgical this. I'm going to. Like, if I had a Swords to Plowshares in my hand, I might not fight over this, but Entomb, Exhume, Lotus Petal is the setup here. Oh, that's the one Grief in their deck. Oh, fun of one of Grief. Okay. Now Grief is definitely going to take Force. That's just like one of those things where hitting the Grief beforehand lets them take both pieces of interaction, but if they just reanimate the Grief, they get both pieces of interaction anyway. Lotus Petal. They have Entomb and Exhume in their hand. Oh, they griefed pitching Grief. They do have 2 of them. Okay. All right, interaction spell. Let's go. Easy money. Okay. If I Zenith for Dryad Arbor, they're going to know I drew a spell. I should probably Brainstorm. I would like to turn some of these bad cards into good cards. Ponder sees more cards. If I hadn't found Force, I would have pondered, but since I did find Force, I'm going to Brainstorm. We're going to Entomb in response. Yep. Last card in hand is Exhume. Grizz Father. Grist and Uro. All good stuff. I'm going to put back Food Chain and Green Sun Zenith. Play my Forest. Force is probably going to pitch Uro. I think Leovold is better in the face of Grizzlebrand, and I need the Ponder to find a land drop. Land is the only card in their hand. They're Hellbent. Force pitching Uro. But any draw step is good for them. There is a Caracas in my deck. There are 2 Endurances. I could Zenith for the shuffle. To shuffle away Food Chain, or I boarded out Noble Hierarch, didn't I? I did. Oh, but Dryad Arbor's still in the deck. So I can Zenith for Arbor and then get a fresh Ponder. I like that. That shuffled away the Food Chain. Now, Recruiter of the Guard. Could jam Leovold next turn if I take the land or Grist. All right. I'm just going to try to bet that they won't draw a reanimate spell right now. Please and thank you. Or they just draw a reanimate right now. It's all good. Okay. I have Grist in my hand that can kill Grizzlebrand. If Grist is still in my hand next turn, they can only draw once. Lotus Petal. My top card's Recruiter of the Guard, which isn't helpful, so I'm going to shuffle with Flooded Strand. I do have Caracas and Swords to Plowshares in my deck still, even if they have a discard spell. Faithless Looting. Discarded 2 Chancellors. Dark Ritual. Disappointing. They're just flashing back looting. Alright, that's not too bad. Wish I could have put this Leovold into play. Oh god, Elishnorn. That one's scary. Pass the turn. Pass the turn. Thoughtseize, bummer. Alright, I'm gonna lose Grist here. Unless they have the reanimate. Well, they can't reanimate because they're at 2. Yeah, they take Grist. And I shuffle away this Recruiter of the Guard. That is not helpful. I don't actually have white mana, so I better get Tundra here. That gives me blue, white, black. Yeah, okay. I'll get Tundra. And rip an answer. Abundant Growth. It's a second look at an answer. A Dryad Arbor, Abundant Growth, my Forest. Ponder. I can Ponder looking for Swords to Plowshares, or I could just jam Leovold, which makes Grizzlebrand smaller, or like less relevant. It's still a 7/7 lifelink, but they can't draw cards anymore. I do still have a land to play. Like I could Ponder into land if it misses. Oh, this is dangerous. I think I want to take the swing on Ponder. All right, I'm going to Ponder. Show me the Caracas. Pay me. Abundant Growth, Walking Ballista. Oh, that's interesting. I could put them to 1. Oh no. Alright, I'm just gonna take the land and cast Leovold now. Done enough goofing around here. I'll get my Savannah and black, green, blue. Alright, well, there's Leo. Opponent's gonna get to attack me, go to 9. Oh, that walking ballista. That was the chance. Maybe my opponent will forget what Leovold does and just pay 7 and die. That's my out right now. Another Entomb. Getting Faithless Looting. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Discard 2 cards. Don't mind if you do! Ha 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 ha! Wow. It's like Leovold doesn't even have text. We got the LOL oops in the chat. Yeah, you're not kidding. You're probably still winning this game, but that was a big one. Oh. Hydroid Krasis. I can Krasis for X equals 3. That gives me a 3/3, and I draw 1 card, gain 1 life. I can X equals 2. That gives me a 2/2. I also draw 1 card, gain 1 life. Yeah, I think Krasis for 2 is better. Alright, blue-green, 1, 2. Because this is probably just on chump duty anyway. And it draws the same number of cards. Zenith. Zenith is not helpful right now because my only 0 is already in play, but it's pretty good next turn. Unfortunately, my Grist is already dead. But that does buy me time. It's a blocker for Griselbrand. This is a Flying Trample, the old Flample creature. And I am going to block before this Elishnorn shows up and makes that not a thing anymore. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can Zenith for up to 5. What is in my deck right now? I could grab an Uro. I could get Endurance, and that does block Griselbrand and clear the Elishnorn from the graveyard. Uro might actually race Griselbrand in a meaningful way. Okay, I'm gonna fetch first, because I want to leave my 5-color land available. I'm gonna get an island because Mystic Sanctuary is a card in my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think Uro is better than Endurance here. Like a real thing that can move the game forward. Even put Yorion in my hand right now. I do have 3 islands. Are there any spells that I want? Could grab Ponder. Yeah, I think I do want to get Ponder. This gives me a lot of looks next turn and more action. If I could get Surgical in my hand right now, I would have done that, but it's just on top of the deck, not in hand. Okay, Leovold's been holding it down. We're dead to the Animate Dead or the Exhume or whatever, but we are offering some resistance against the Grizzfather himself. Uro does not get me out of range here, so I'm gonna Ponder with leaving the option of, oh, that's good. All right, so Mist Hollow Griffin can block Griselbrand, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can eat. All right, so Mist Hollow Griffin, 1, 2, 3, 4. Attack for 4. Griffin can block Griselbrand. It goes to my graveyard where Uro can eat it, where I can then cast it from exile. And Uro will draw Flusterstorm on the way through. A chump block there. They're back to 20. No big deal. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Yeah. All right, I did count that correctly. Green, blue, blue, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's Uro. I draw Flusterstorm and gain 3 life. Put Flooded Strand into play. Then I fetch and play Mist Hollow Griffin, getting the Tropical Island. There's this. And Leovold will exact his points of damage. And Elishnorn doesn't kill me anymore because, oh yeah, they're paying 7 to draw 1 card in my end step. They do have the life points to fuck with that. That's powerful stuff. Thoughtseize, I get to draw a card, but they get to take a card also. Found a Swords to Plowshares finally. Right away to lose it to the Thoughtseizes. They have 2 cards left in their hand. Ooh, no attack. Oh, baby. That's a good card to find. If I attack with Uro, they gain 7, but I draw 2 and gain 6 because they chump block Uro. Then I refire Uro immediately. I could also just Yorion. I could also just do nothing. I could Yorion Flicker Uro also gets me more cards, but yeah, this is fun. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's Uro. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't Uro and Yorion. If I attack with Mist Hollow and Uro, that's bad. I think I just want a Yorion. Yeah, I'm just gonna Yorion here. I'm not gonna get cute with the Uro attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna flicker Abundant Growth, and I guess the question is, do I flicker Uro to draw a card here? And I think I do. Abundant Growth and Uro. Yeah, I'll just bring him back next turn. This is kind of the play that I was considering making anyway, except I just don't have a 6/6 in play now. My hand is pretty rolled up on defense, though. Abundant Growth reattached to the forest. I should have stacked this differently. I should have drawn with Abundant Growth first to give Uro a chance to put an extra land into play. Now if I draw Caracas right now off this Abundant Growth, I'm going to look like a fool. Alright, we dodged looking like a fool at least. That's the most important thing when you play Magic, to look cool doing it. I have infinite creature mana available right now. Exhume, huh? Oh, Storm is 1. If I clip Elish Norn, I can even pay mana for this, so I don't lose life. If I go after Elish Norn, I don't care about a Chancellor. I have like infinite mana right now. And they've seen the Flusterstorm. Their hand is Entomb. And is there any creatures left in their deck? Iona is still on the deck. So Entomb in response to Exhume is a big deal. Like if I fluster the Exhume, they pay 1, 2, 3, and then they Entomb. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay. I think I just have to let them have this chance or the Annex. But I get Grist out of the deal, so everyone's having a good time. Yeah, I can bring back Grist or Uro. Yeah, I think I just bring back Grist and let them know that they're losing their best thing next turn. Resolves. Grist, get in there. They kind of have to attack, but then Mist Hollow Griffin can be eaten by Uro again next turn. Block. Oh yeah, this looks good. The only card in their hand is Entomb. And I just drew Endurance. Man, life is good. I get to green, blue, blue, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have to pay the 1. Pay it right here. And I get Uro. Draws a card, gains a life. Abundant Growth. And then I'm going to feed Ride Arbor, Grist. Going to destroy Grizzlebrand. And then I can cast Abundant Growth over here and pay the toll. Yes. I can still Flusterstorm, not that it was very good anyway. And I am not dead to these creatures. I have Endurance that I can pay the 1 for, and lots of green spells I'm happy to pitch. This feels good. I think we did it. I got a Thoughtseize here. Yeah, I'll draw a card off Leovold. And I know their hand is Entomb. I could just Endurance right now. Make sure their stuff is gone. Yeah, sure, that sounds fine. Invoke, cast, pitching a Food Chain. Pay the 1, yes. Endurance. Get rid of your graveyard. And Thoughtseize resolves. Probably going to take my other Food Chain. But I am beating the board right now. I don't even need to combo. No attacks. Well, Walking Bee. Well, shame I just pitched those 2 Food Chains, but whatever. Plus Grist. Milled a 3rd Food Chain. 1 left in the 80 card deck. And I'm going to attack with Uro. Bigger than their creature. Force of Will in my hand now. Don't mind me, just doing control deck shit over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the Troll Toll. Okay. They are dead on board, and I have Force of Will and Flusterstorm backup. I can even pitch Mist Hologriffin to Force of Will. I'm not going to counter this. I'm going to give them False Hope. I don't think there's a single card they can draw that strips my Force of Will and gets their creature back into play. Oh, they did draw Exhume. That's fun, because that's going to give me a creature, but not you. Of course, pitching Mist Hologriffin for the maximum value. Yeah, control deck shit. Okay, per the deck tech, I was talking about keeping an eye on the black cards. Leovold and Grist, both important role players to this one. On to the next round. I'm on the draw against Powerful Wizard, Winged Hussar. I'm going to keep my hand. Hussar has been tearing things up with just stock bread and butter Delver lately, but I know his range also includes various combo decks, so we'll see what happens here. All right. We are playing against Reanimator again. I got nothing to say about that. Targeted himself, has the turn 1 Grizzlebrand. Okay. Lessons learned. Okay, I'm going to let him have Grizzlebrand, and then I'll concede to a discard spell, but I will... Okay, never mind. Now I'll give up the information. I would have taken a draw step to see if I could spike Swords of Plowshares or Karakas if he just passed the turn here, but I'm not going to let him know what I'm doing. Because from his side of the board, he just saw me reveal Yorion, then die to a turn 1 combo. Probably thinks I'm on Death and Taxes right now, which is a reasonable place to put me. Here comes that same sideboard again. Welcome to the Magic Online Leagues. Deafening Silence on the play might be kind of exciting. I don't like it on the draw, but on the play, I think I'll try to find room for it. Okay, Prismatic Ending, Prime Time. These are all things that we saw happen last time. Noble Hierarch, Loam. That's what I did last round. Now I gotta find 2 more for the Deafening Silence, if I want that card. Honestly, I don't think that I do. They can win the game casting 1 spell at a time, and I need to be able to cantrip and do multiple things. I'm gonna do it like this. Hull Breacher is an option, though. Hull Breacher can, like, clip a Faithless Looting or a Grizzlebrand. We won last game because of Leovold's static ability, and Hull Breacher has a very similar one. If I'm going to cut something, what's it going to be? It could be a Manipulate for Hull Breacher. Could even be a Food Chain. Like, that's not plan A here. Yeah, I'll find Food Chain later when I'm ready for it, but it's a pretty bad card when you're not ready for it. Other than pitching to Endurance, it doesn't do anything. Oh god, a 0-lander with 2 pieces of interaction. My heart, it burns. I'm gonna mulligan this, even though I would not fault anyone for keeping it. Okay, rewarded. Now I have a hand with 2 lands, at least 1 piece of interaction, maybe 2 if my Abundant Growth finds a blue card here. Now I have to decide if I think Recruiter or Food Chain is a better card on its own, because I'm bottoming one of those 2. Recruiter cannot get Endurance, too thick. Yeah, I think it's just Recruiter. Keep this one, bottom Recruiter. And Forest, Abundant Growth, my Forest. Please draw a blue card. Keep these shields up. I'm hoping my opponent's over there with, like, multiple Massacres in hand. Surprise, I'm not Death in Texas. Or just, like, a bunch of Serenities, or just, like, some shit that doesn't matter here. Moment of truth. Blue card. Yeah! Alright. Mulligan a no-lander with 2 interactive spells into a 2-lander with 2 interactive spells. Just feeling like Albert Einstein right now. Faithless Looting with the best art. Love this thing. I'm not going to Force of Will looting in this position. Not with Surgical to back me up. I might force it if I didn't have Surgical. That's actually an interesting conversation that I'm glad I don't need to have. Archon of Cruelty in the graveyard. And now it's my turn. Called Walking Ballista. That card, I could just put it into play as a clock of some kind. It's also 1 mana for Food Chain. But if I put it into play, then I can't combo anymore. Like, I don't have a way to... I guess I could Endurance it back into my deck, sack it, Endurance back into my deck, tutor it back up. Weird. I think I'd rather represent Spell Pierce, Flusterstorm, etc., Veil of Summer, than cast Walking Ballista. Brief. Wish this was Veil of Summer. Brief pitching Dark Ritual. I guess I'm losing Leovold here. Exhume. Bummer. Alright. Well, I will at least surgical the Archon so that doesn't happen. Grief is going to come back. Lotus Petal, Faithless Looting, Unmask in hand. Archon. This is a 4 Archon build, the canister special. 4 Archon, 4 Grizzlebrand. Not messing around with anything else. Okay. Archons are out. You get a Grief, which is going to take my food chain, I'm sure. Don't think you care about Ballista right now. Though you might not care about food chain either. I think I'd rather take a draw step than fetch my Triome. Okay, now I'm going to fetch a basic Island and growth that up. If this cantrips into a land, I can still play Ballista. Oh, bummer. Well, land's a land here. Boseiju doesn't really do anything in this matchup. And if I draw a land, then I can crank up Ballista and kill Grief. Lotus Petal. Those are the 3 cards I knew about. Grizzlebrand, Unmask, Lotus Petal. Or I knew about Faithless Looting? God, I already forgot what I knew. 2 Entombs discarded, 1 card left in hand. I would love to draw Endurance. That's the best draw in my deck. Oh, Field of the Dead. Almost what I wanted, but not quite. Might as well get Yorion. I'm not bluffing anything. There's nothing else to do with my mana. Is the last card in your hand a reanimate spell? It is. Animate Dead. Oh, it's the one Boseiju would have lined up against. Alright, yeah, we've lost this one. The window is closed. 2 pieces of interaction, not good enough. Unmasking me, stripping my Yorion for the final insult. Reanimating my Yorion for additional insults. You want to flicker Grief? My hand's already empty. Alright, they are at 6. Do I have a way to generate infinite mana right now off the top of the deck? Oh, Holy Bee. 6, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, I'm like dead anyway. Oh, that sucks. Turn late on Holy Bee's arrival. I'm just going to 1 here. I can flash in Hull Breacher, double block Grief, and lose all my creatures and then just die anyway. Alright, yeah. I've seen enough. We're good here. Yeah, we saw beating up on a lackluster Reanimator hand, and we saw getting dumpstered by good Reanimator hands. Welcome to Legacy. On to the next round. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I am on the play in round number 3. I'm going to keep this hand. This one is a little awkward because Leovold is not castable with white mana. So if I were to basic Forest Abundant Growth on turn 1, then I'm locking myself out of Leovold. I could also just like not play Abundant Growth and wait, and then I can go Plains Forest. Yeah, I think I should wait here because I can catch Forest or fetch Forest, put Abundant Growth on Plains, and still possibly have turn 3 Leovold in that world. Wasteland, played around it. Perfect. I drew Forest. Cool. All right. Well, now I can... I guess I still have to make that play, don't I? Shit. No, now I can basic Forest, basic Island, manipulate Fate. That's what I should be doing here. This gives up on turn 3. Well, it doesn't give up. I could still draw... No, I can't. There's no black source in the deck. All right. Manipulate Fate. I'm slowing down on Leovold on purpose here because I think this is better. This lets me fetch basics and develop my board. I'm going to exile Mist Hollow Griffin, and Eternal Scourge. Field. Draw 4 cards for 2 mana spell. And I did find land. There is no untapped source of black in the deck. It's only Zagoth Triome and Abundant Growth. Oh, I can't turn 3 Leo here. Mulch. Alright, so we're playing against a Mulch deck that either... Oh, they had a Gigantha, I didn't even notice. They either didn't have or chose not to cast yet their Mana Bond. Zenith for 2, what does that do? Anything? Gets Noble Hierarch. It basically gets Noble Hierarch. That might be good enough. If I go Now, I think I want to brainstorm this turn. Okay, I'm going to brainstorm first. I would like some interaction for the... Okay. Now I can interact with Mana Bond. This Field of the Dead is unlikely to occur. Arrakis can check Merit Lage, kind of, but we see Wasteland in play and in their hand, and Ghost Quarter. Jesus. Alright, put back Plains and Field of the Dead, and then I can fetch Plains and get Noble Hierarch, or I could wait on Zenith and Endurance them next turn, play Abundant Growth now, but they do have Ghost Quarter in hand. Abundant Growth isn't even, like, good. But if they have Ghost Quarter in play, that's way worse, because then I don't even get to draw a card on the way through. Yeah, I think I want to Abundant Growth and try to Endurance next turn. Okay. It sucks when you have to play against both a lands deck and a combo deck at the same time. But I am a combo deck myself, which is not usually the case. They just found Field of the Dead. They milled over a Mana Bond. I'm not going to force some Negation Loam, because I need to fight over Mana Bond. Oh, they didn't play Loam. Fascinating. Okay. Maybe now I just jam Leo. I don't have a blue card anymore, so that puts those shields down, but I can play Leo first, and then just play a land. That can fetch a basic. I did just leave the shields down. Let's hope I don't get punished for it. They either don't have or have been extremely patient on their Mana Bond, and I suspect they've been patient. You even keep a hand without that card? Or some version of it. There's Thespian Stage. I have been sandbagging Caracas, but we know about multiple Wastelands. This might be crop rotation. Still no blue card in my hand. I can hard cast Force of Negation now if I need to. I could also put Yorion in my hand as a blue card. Back with Leo. I could play Tropical Island. Like Wasteland, I get to draw a card off of. I think I'll just drop Tropical Island and pass the turn. They have to decide if they want to use their Wasteland on that. They're crop rotationing. What I've been waiting for. I guess if I had played my Caracas, they wouldn't have been able to make this line for the turn. Kind of would have forced the waiting. So they copied my basic forest, which lets me draw a card. Thanks, Leovold. They could click, click, boom right now. They have been storing up some gas for a while. They have double green source. There's a second Field of the Dead in the graveyard. They could loam Mana Bond Chichow. And if they do that, I have to rip Food Chain off the top to win the game. But I do have the win if I find one. All right, now you have a Caracas, which also draws me cards. Oh, Jaggy's in hand. Okay. I don't think I'm cracking Polluted Delta. Force of Will, are you good? Probably not. What can I get with Recruiter? I could get Krasis. I could also cast Grist. I could Grist and Eternal Scourge. I'm going to attack first. That's definitely happening. I could Zenith for Uro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next turn I can Zenith for Prime Time if they don't chow me down with Wastelands. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cast Grist. Black, green. I'm going to tap my colored lands. Or my non-basic lands. That's what I mean by colored lands. They're all colored lands. And then I'm going to put Yorion in my hand. I'm going to get basic island to keep the Field of the Dead dream alive. And plus build a land. Okay, not bad. I have Force of Will. I'm ready for that. I have Caracas in my hand if they just cast Jaggy. They're holding a Loam that they haven't cast in several turns, building up to something over there. I feel like I should have lost this game 100 years ago, but I don't know what's going on. They've either been too careful with their Mana Bond at this point, or they actually did keep a hand that didn't have one. Here's Giganta. I'm not going to counter that. I have Grist that can kill it on board, and Caracas in my hand. But we're not doing either of those things. We're going straight to Prime Time right now. Zenith for 6. We are entering the field. Primeval Titan, trigger. I'm going to get Field of the Dead and Wasteland. Wasteland and Field of the Dead. Where are you? There you are. get some zombos, and then I'm gonna kill Gigantha, sack a zombie. I think I'd rather push the damage this turn with insect than get an extra damage in subsequent turns. Mathematicians in the comments can let me know if I've done that wrong. Probably. Instant gratification. The opponent's at 10. I have Force of Will in my hand. They would have to come up with, like, if they have 2 mana bonds in their hand, or like mana bond with some sort of protection, I could lose this game. Expiration, land gets them 1 zombie. That's not enough. They can't take a defensive posture anymore because I just have Omega Lethal on board. Like, they can't settle into a Wasteland game now. It's too late for that. Loam's in my deck somewhere. There's only one of them, but Loam off the top keeps the Field of the Dead coming. Food Chain off the top just wins the game immediately. And they need to answer the board. Okay, they thought about it for a second and then realized they were dead. Nice. All right, this is a little scary. There's no sweeper in this list. Like, the sweeper is kill your opponent. In all the slots that would normally have, like, anything reactive to a big board like that, we just have a way to win the game over top of it. And gotta lean into that one. Surgical Extraction, clearing out Loam can be important. Don't really care about Seeds, Hydroblast, Flusterstorm, Energy Flux, Hull Breacher, Veil. None of this other stuff really matters. Bringing in 2 Surgicals, and what am I taking out? Like, Grist isn't great for the matchup. It was just in play and killed a Gigantha, but that's not really a normal thing that's going to happen. And I think I like Noble Hierarch. Swords to Plowshares is good against Merit Lage and bad against everything else the deck does. And I do have some flyers and life gain. All right. I'm just taking out these 2 cards for 2 Surgicals. This is what we're doing. My hand is kind of bad. Like, I can Zenith for Dryad Arbor and have 3 mana for Endurance on turn 2, but that loses to Mana Bond. So I can Ending a Mana Bond. I never want Primetime in my hand. I'm going to try this. Because sometimes their hand isn't ready to use Mana Bond on turn 1. Like, they Mana Bond and then they want to do something else. And that lets Prismatic Ending line up. Alright, deck. Okay, cool. I found Basic Plains. Is that even something I want access to? Like, I always hate losing to Wasteland, but I hate losing to my own decisions even more. But I'm going to respect the Wasteland here. Get Prismatic Ending. Like, that slows them down off of turn 2 Merit Lage. They could still turn 3 Merit Lage. There's a Mulch effect. They have Thespian Stage, Taiga, Mazavith in hand. Okay, they had another Exploration. All right. Relentless. That's how that works. And okay, that's exciting. Can I get up the chain next turn? I don't see Wasteland. I know 2 of the 4 cards in their hand. I could just float Wasteland in play, or I could Zenith for a Noble Hierarch right now and try to get raunchy with Food Chain next turn. I'm going to do that. Let's go. They have Blast Zone in play, but that also kills their Exploration if they want to go after my Hierarch. Or did I board Hierarch out? I still have Dryad Arbor either way. We'll find out in a second. No, my Hierarchs are still in. Yeah, those were the last 2 rounds. Okay. I have to get a non-basic land here, which has to be a Tropical Island, because that's the only one that lines up to cast the spells I need to cast right now. All right, Zenith, let's go. And I am going to get the Hierarch instead of the Arbor, because that's worth more mana if I try to do Food Chain stuff next turn. This is 3, 4, 5. I might be able to cast Primetime next turn. Reb just hit the graveyard. They have Windswept Heath, Forest, Nurturing Peatland. Oh, remulching. That's a lot of mulches. 2 Mana Bonds hit the graveyard. They do have Wasteland. They have Boseiju in their hand that can kill Food Chain. That's annoying. Okay. Now everything is worse. I think I should just Uro and hold up Wasteland. I don't want to just like give them a free shot on the Boseiju. No Forest, and then Uro produces Wasteland. Okay, now I have infinite mana next turn. If they try to dance around the wasteland, the food chain might get them, but they do have the Beseiju. They have to leave up 2 mana for that, and it ramps me when they do it. Now, there's some give and take here. Draw a card with Peatland immediately. Life from the Loam, targeting Wasteland, Verdant Catacombs, Peatland. Okay. Sucks, but okay. There's Peatland. That's the 2 lands for turn. They are holding up Beseiju. Clean up step, discarded Catacombs. All right. Land is good. There's my land, and then I can cast Mist Hollow Griffin, leave up Wasteland. I could just play Endurance, clear their Loam. Don't really want to put all these good cards back in their deck, though. Let's see, if I go 1, 2, 3 for Food Chain, I get 1, 2 mana right away, and then they have Beseiju. That's not good. Could just hold up Endurance, cast it, and then have lots of mana when I go for Food Chain. Yeah, I think that's the line. And I think I want to let them Dredge Loam and then hit the pile, because they're going to Nurturing Peatland first, probably, and then pick that up, and then I can sweep all that away. I don't really want them to have this Bajuka Bog that's in the graveyard. Okay, they are loaming now. I will Endurance in response. Yeah, that Bog is a little too annoying. Now they can crop rotate into it, but that was there anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know 5 of the 7 cards in their hand. Stage and Caracas have joined the party. This Beseiju is pretty annoying. Ooh, Force of Will. That's nice. I can go 4, 5, 6. I can attack for 4 and then jam Primetime. And I can counter a crop rotation. Okay, in for 4. And then Food Chain is 1, 2, 3. Then if they don't Beseiju Food Chain, I get to do Mist Hollow stuff. 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's Primetime. They probably Beseiju in response. If they wait on Beseiju, then I get an extra trigger off of Field of the Dead. Okay. You get to search up Wasteland and Field of the Dead. I could get Dryad Arbor, and that goes 1, 2, 3. No, that's not enough to get Mist Hollow Griffin on this deck. Oh, Wasteland's already in play, so that doesn't help me with Field of the Dead. Definitely want Field, and I guess I'll take the Zagoth Triome, or I could get my own Caracas. Yeah, I'll get Caracas out of respect for Merit Lage, and then they can go ahead and kill my Food Chain. I don't even care. And they have to beat Primeval Titan now. Offering Nurturing Peatland. Alright. Drawing a card. I can Force of Will alone once. There's Dark Depths. I have Caracas for that. Field of the Dead of their own. Alright. They played Wasteland. They can Wasteland my Caracas. That's pretty good. Now they can Beseiju. Life from the Loam. I'm going to force this. Or do I need to force this? They get back the Wasteland. That's annoying. I could waste their Nurturing Peatland in response. They could copy a basic, but then what? Actually just going to force this. It puts my Griffin in exile. They have to pop their Thespian Stage to draw another card to re-dredge Loam to go again. Or they could just have 2 Loams in their hand. Yeah, that works too. Good job. Well, we're here to be moving into my turn. And they have exactly not enough mana to stop me here. Well, I'll attack with my Primeval Titan. I'll start there. Bang. Yes, use the ability. I'm gonna get Zagoth Triome. I need to get 2 new names. Guess I could just get 2 fetch lands and light it up next turn. I'm not really doing anything this turn. These lands come into play tapped. Alright, yeah, that's not helpful. Okay. Misty and Flooded Strand. Gives me those. And Mist Hollow Griffin can block Merit Lage forever. Or at least until they Beseiju my Food Chain. Okay, and now that I'm in the field, that island triggers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the Mist Hollow from exile. and then make blue. Cast this. I'm casting Uro this turn also. That's what's going on right now. Blue. I want to pass the turn with Uro and Mist Hollow Griffin in play. That's my plan here. All right, they are Besageoing now. It's too late to do that, because now I can search my deck for basic forest, and I have exactly enough mana floating to cast Uro. And Mist Hollow Griffin's going to be in play. Yeah, missed the boat on that one. I could have eaten zombies if I wasn't quite there yet on Uro. They do make 1 mana each. Here's Uro. They have Karakas, but the life gets me out of Merit Lage range. That's also helpful. And I can Wasteland right now, or I can hold my horses. I think I want to hold my horses. They dredged Loam, hit Thespian Stage Wasteland. They can Wasteland my Wasteland, which forces the action on Dark Depths. They are wasting my Wasteland. I'm gonna go after their... Yeah, I think I just want to force the action now. I'll go after the Nurturing Peatland, aka Thespian Stage. Yeah, they make Merit Lage in response. I have a flying blocker, and I'm over 20 life, and they're dead through it right now. And I have Plow in hand, if all that isn't good enough. This has been a really cool set of games, one way or the other here. Right, there's the Maze of Ith. I did know about that one. So they're not dead through the Merit Lage. Or maybe they are. They block Primetime, bounce Uro, Maze, Mist Hollow, still take 8. Yeah, they are dead through the Merit Lage. We good? In my upkeep, do I want to start fetching now? Yeah, I think so. I don't want to draw these lands. Gonna get Tundra, trigger my field, and now I can get Mystic Sanctuary, but my only spell is Prismatic Ending, but I guess that's a pretty good one. Yeah, duh. There we go. Prismatic Ending. Put that in my hand. That clears the Merit Lage without giving them 20 life. That's even better. Draw for turn. Prismatic Ending on Merit Lage. How we doing here? Are we done? We are, in fact, done. That was sweet. They never really popped off, and we just overpowered the lands half of the deck. Good stuff. On to the next one. I'm on the draw for round 4. This hand, the mana's a little awkward, but I am going to keep. I like hitting land drops. Volcanic Island. Okie dokie. Volcanic Island, go. Suspicious. Brainstorm fixes everything. Keep the faith. Just keep those sketchy 4-landers. Brainstorm will help you. Ooh, Jeskai. Okay. I should beware of Hull Breacher. I'm going to Brainstorm in their upkeep. This is before Hull Breacher can come down. Just don't want to mess with that. I do have the entire food chain combo here. I don't think I need Mystic Sanctuary right now. And I kind of do want Loam. Alright, I'll put Loam on top and hopefully not have to shuffle. Oh, just 2 lands and pass, huh? Okay, I'm going to draw the Loam and then fetch basic, or basic Plains actually doesn't cast Uro, but I think that's okay. Basic Plains, basic Forest, and Uro. See if this is a plow the front half of Uro situation, or force Uro, or what are we doing about this Uro? This is the food chain control game that I was talking about, where I just put spells on the stack, see if they have answers for them, and clear the launch pad for my eventual food chain. Found Zagoth Triumph. I'll put that one into play. That's more important than Field of the Dead right now. I want Field of the Dead to be kind of a surprise. Well, end step dress down. Are we getting dreadnoughted? Oh no, that was just a desperate cantrip. Dress down and pass the turn. Wow, they have to go to discard. Kept a 2-lander, didn't get there. Ooh, Manipulate Fate. That's a good one. I'm gonna Loam first. Start with Loam. See if this is worth a Force of Negation. Between Manipulate and Loam, I'm pretty happy if either of them resolve. Right now I can Manipulate. This gives away what I'm doing. Loud and clear. This is only in one deck and it's food chain. Oh, Flusterstorm. You got it. Okay. It's good stuff out of the main deck. I'm not going to crack this fetch land because I can play another fetch land. Or Let's see. Can I Uro next turn? Yeah, if I dredge Loam, I can Uro. So I'm probably going to dredge Loam next turn and try to get Uro happening. And then Field of the Dead is waiting in the background. Still haven't hit a second land drop. I'm going to dredge Loam. And then I'm going to cast Uro. Get Tropical Island. And then blue, blue, green, green. Here comes Uro. And trigger. What's in Field of the Dead? All right, they just plow immediately. That's fine. Uro did its job. What's in Field of the Dead? And then I get my land drop for the turn, which is immediately 2 zombies. And I can replay Life from the Loam, and they're conceding on the spot to that one. Hell yeah. Easy to beat up a Jeskai player who has no mana. We gotta respect Blood Moon out of the sideboard, but they did see Manipulate Fate, so they know I have Food Chain, if they know what that is. I generally give my opponents benefit of the doubt that they know what cards are. They probably know that I'm on Food Chain, but they also know that I'm a Field of the Dead deck. I don't think I want to like play small ball with them over Flusterstorms and stuff. Is there a Teferi deck? Hydroblast can clear a Blood Moon or counter a Pyroblast. That's all pretty good. They have Flusterstorm in their main. That's a little scary. Normally I would want to cut forces, but Narset and such are problems, and I don't have a lot of good answers to them. I could just lean all the way in on being kind of a Food Chain deck. Endurance is like a big butt, but that's all it is, and Lyrival is actually really good. Swords to Plowshares is good against Hull Breacher, but bad against Narset. Oh, that's risky to mess with the number of those, but I think it's where I want to be. I can cut a Manipulate. It's not a card you want to draw 2 of. Noble Hierarch isn't bad, but also isn't good. And I do like the Zeniths to get Grist or Leovold appropriate to the situation. Guess I'm kind of upgrading Hierarch into Carpet of Flowers. Okay, I'm trying this. I don't really know what their deck is yet. I can get a ballpark. I assume they're a Narset Days Undoing kind of thing. This hand has Uro in it. Can't actually cast it. They didn't see a Wasteland game 1, but they did keep a sketchy hand game 1. Maybe I can cheese them with the Wasteland. Force of Will, not a bad find. And it's nice having the Field of Dead just in the opener. Now I can just hit land drops and win the game eventually. At least. That's the plan. Ooh, that's a good one. I think I would rather leave up Hydroblast than cast Cavern right now when they don't have any islands yet. What is this? Oh, just nasty Naked Shark Typhoon. Just a little draw 2 cards, or draw 1 card for 2 mana. And they still missed their 3rd land drop. Can't teach this person anything. I am going to draw for my turn without fetching. Oh, that was good. Okay. How do I want to do this? I'm going to fetch Tropical Island. And then I'm going to play Wasteland. This is to get around Spell Pierce. Then I'm going to play Carpet of Flowers. And then Carpet will trigger in my 2nd main. And we're going to make green off of that. Then Abundant Growth my Plains. Now I have a land that will tap for any color, even under Blood Moon. Cool. And I can set up Uro next turn. Alright, this feels good. And they missed their last land drop. If they draw a non-basic land, they're just going to have to shove into Wasteland. Wow. I'm feeling for my opponent right now. I've been there. Surgical my Flooded Strand. I guess they were going to have to discard anyway. Sure, have a look. Yeah, if they were a little patient on that Surgical, they would have clipped Uro and 1 in my hand. But that might mean they have 2. Or that's just... Yeah, I don't know. That might have just been like a knee-jerk, I'm going to discard anyway, or they might have 2. Okay. I will make green mana with this. Green. And then I can play my island from my hand. Green, blue, colorless. Gives me Uro. Uro gives me Field of the Dead. Now Food Chain is ready for next turn. I can Flusterstorm a Surgical, if I care. Which is not a guarantee. Uh-oh, they found a land. Now I'm dead. Not really, but it's worrisome. I do have Force with Flusterstorm and Hydra backup right now. Monastery Mentor. I do have some respect for that card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands. Not even close to Uro here. Yeah, I'm just not prepared to fight that thing right now. And I'm gonna pitch the bonus Uro. They've shown me Surgical Extraction. This might be a Snapcaster deck. I don't want that second Uro chilling. Yes, make green. This is not going to be a Wasteland deck, so I'm going to Field of the Dead my Abundant Growth my Field of the Dead. I almost said Field of the Dead my Surgical Extraction, which are none of those are cards that I have. Oh, fuck yeah. They've seen the Food Chain. They've not seen the Griffin. Then 1, 2, 3. Let's get Food Chain in. Between Flusterstorm and Hydroblast, this is going to happen. And then I can have infinite creature mana next turn. Nothing to do with it at current. The Fairy. Yeah, that ignores all the shit I've done. Can't Fluster or Hydroblast that one. Bounces Food Chain. Squeaky clean if they want that. Yep, gross. Okay. Yes, and make blue mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mistalo Griffin. Let's go. Force of Will, target that. I kind of love that. That puts it in the graveyard where Uro can eat it. And I'm going to pop Yorion in my hand here. They haven't demonstrated the ability to cast Narset. Hullbreacher would be pretty fucked up. Yeah, Teferi is here, ruining yet another game of Magic. It's okay when it ruins it for my side. I don't like when it ruins it for their side. Teferi is a card a straight bant build of this deck could play, also. Pretty good one. Brainstorm on their own turn. That means Narset definitely isn't happening this turn. If they find a land, they could still be threatening Hullbreacher. They could still Blood Moon me. Mountain Blood Moon turns off field at least for them. It's still not very good, but it's not nothing. There has been a Moto bug where Abundant Growth doesn't know how to interact with Blood Moon. Abundant Growth should always beat Blood Moon. Like, if they play Blood Moon now, my Field of the Dead should tap for all 5 colors, because Blood Moon happens in the type changing layer, and Abundant Growth happens in the ability granting layer, which happens later. It's not a timestamp thing, because they're doing different things to the land. But Moto was doing it backwards for a long time. Let's see if that's still true. Okay, opponent representing Hullbreacher over there. Through another land, or another thing that doesn't help me. Yes, use the ability. Make white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess I should have led on Food Chain. I'm gonna float green, blue, blue. And I am gonna exile the Abundant Growths. I don't think I get to play to a world where I can avoid Hullbreacher here. And it's not like they get card advantage, they get mana advantage off Hullbreacher. So I'm gonna take my swing. Savine's Reclamation targeting Mentor. Okay, yeah, I don't really care about that. Glad I made the play that I made. Force a negation. Okay. Pitching Shark Typhoon. All right. Yeah, this isn't that bad. Yorion is still bigger than that. They can flashback Sabine's Wreck with a land next turn, but I do get to draw 2 cards right now. Plains and Field of the Dead. Island, Force of Will. All right, 2 more blanks. I drew Snow Island, which is not a unique name for Field of the Dead, and Force of Will, which Teferi is making terrible. There you have a Ponder. If they can clear a Yorion, I'm in trouble. If Yorion can clear Teferi, I'll be feeling better. But still not great. Yeah, that's Teferi. Murderous. If they have the Swords to Plowshares, Yorion's gone. Now I'm in trouble to Mentor. Okay, different land. A fetch land is good. Way to clear Teferi is good. Recruiter is very interesting. Okay, yes, use Carpet. Make white. White, colorless. Recruiter of the Guard. There's a Walking Ballista in my deck this can get. I also get Grist. I got options here. Oh, Hydroid Krasis, my goodness. 1, 2, that would be a 4/4 that draws 2 and gains 2 on the way in. They do have the Teferi in play still. Yeah, maybe I want Krasis here. Ballista can threaten the Mentor, but they do have Savine's Wreck. to re-mentor. Savine's Wreck can also re-Teferi. I think I want Krasis. That's fun. I'm going to draw 2, gain 2, and make a 4/4 here. More Force of Wills. No lands with new names. They have 2 cards in their hand. Up to 3. Teferi can bounce something and draw a card, and then if they have a land, they can flashback Savine's Wreck, getting back Teferi. Oh god, there's Narset. Now we're in trouble. But I do have a 4/4 flyer now that I didn't have a second ago. But I did draw Brainstorm, which I didn't have a second ago either. But and I can't even do clever shit like Brainstorm, counter my own Brainstorm to fuel Uro because my opponent has Teferi also. Don't show me plow. Don't show me plow. Don't show me plow. Prismatic Ending. That can hit my carpet. But if they have a land, they can hit Krasis because it is a 2-drop in play. Alright, they have hit my carpet. Fair enough. It's a mentor trigger. That has been generating advantage. It lets mentor attack through Krasis this turn. The 3/3s are also rumbling. I'm going to bet they don't have a 0-mana spell and just that they're pushing damage. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Oh god, they had Surgical. Oh, the blowout. Okay. Well done. And it exiled my Uro. Yeah, we lost this game to Teferi. What else is new? We get a game 3, though. They have 1 card in their hand. I don't play any sweepers. Narset doesn't help. Food Chain. Yeah, we're dead. Okay. That was well played. That was a cool game. And by well played, I mean, good job resolving Teferi. But they did know what was in my hand. They did know Teferi would resolve on the turn that it resolved, and then I drew every counterspell after that. Alright, so I kind of want to be creature deck here. All my creatures are in, though. Manipulate Fate is a huge deal. That's... I think I want that more than I thought I did. And knowing they're a mentor deck makes Swords to Plowshares a little better. I think I can cut Hydroblast. They might still be a Blood Moon deck, but that card was not good. And the important things were blue and white. I could bring in Force of Negations to try to fight over Teferis and Narsets. Do I want to do that? Do I want to try to play to the board? The Surgicals are kind of scary. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to bring the Manipulate back in over the Hydroblast and otherwise jam. Okay, I have the Manipulate. I'm going to keep this. Manipulate's just a really good card. So is Brainstorm. I hope they cast Ponder on turn 1. Really don't want my card flustered. Disappointing. Ooh, interesting. I'm going to try a Brainstorm here, see if I can flush out this Flusterstorm. Because I'd rather resolve Manipulate. Oh my god. You got me. Okay, play my land. If I miss my next land drop, they actually did get me. But that was on purpose. There's the Ponder. Plains does not counter Manipulate Fate, no matter what you do with it. I guess Mana Tithe. I spoke too soon. Alright, Manipulate, let's go. Please resolve. Alright, that's in there. I do need to find a land, though. Griffin, and Eternal Scourge. Done. And Drew Leovold. Bummer. Okay, definitely need some green mana to get this game off the ground, but I did resolve my draw 4. That's a start. Cannot beat that card. Okay, I countered it. Come on, deck, land. Green land, specifically, but I'll take any land. I'm not picky. Oh no. Now my opponent is doing to me what I did to them, and by what we did to each other is I mean we didn't draw our 3rd land. So I did get kind of cheeky with my Brainstorm, where if I just waited a turn, I could have manipulated off their Plains turn and then still had Brainstorm in my hand, and nothing would have really changed. Surgicaling my Force of Wills. Yeah, they're going to try to resolve something important this turn. That's the only thing that makes any sense. Just jam a Teferi right now. Okay, no more forces in my deck, and they know what's in my hand. A 4th land is this Jace. Oh god, it's so much worse than imagined. Okay, I need a green source immediately. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. We haven't seen Mana Disruption yet. I could get the Savannah to get my other colors set up, or I could just get the forest and not be greedy. I think I just want the forest. I'm going to cast Eternal Scourge. That can attack Jace. and it threatens the win with Food Chain. And by the win, I mean putting creatures into play. And if they try to bounce it with Teferi, they won't draw a card because it gets exiled if it gets targeted by anything. And then Teferi will fizzle. Jace, all right, they tried to bounce it and it exiled. Okay. Their hand must be kind of bad if they're doing that with Jace. Or they just have other powerful things to do and they just need to buy time. Carpet of Flowers is a really good draw right now. Narset stings a bit. They found a Teferi. All right. The hooks are getting deeper. Come on, land. Carpet of Flowers. All right, I'll take that land. I am not picky. I'll play this land, and I know they have Teferi, so I'm not going to play Food Chain here. I could... No, I can't Zenith either. Yeah, it's just Eternal Scourge again. Disappointing. But we did move the game forward with a land. And now that I have 4 mana, I can Veil of Summer Food Chain, even through Teferi, and put all my creatures into play. So they do have to respect the Eternal Scourge, basically, until they clear my hand. If they Days Undoing here, then they don't need to respect anything. Prismatic Ending doesn't matter. That with Teferi can fuck up Food Chain in the future. Next turn I can Zenith for Grist, and that could put some attackers on the board, or at least some piece of material that is resilient to Planeswalkers. Bouncing the Eternal Scourge again, so exiling it again, basically. It is what I said they should do, or that they need to do. There's Teferi. They have the instant speed Days Undoing. Bad news if they do. But the creatures that I can just continue deploying from exile are pretty exciting. Land is exciting also. Oh, my Kingdom for a Questing Beast, but I don't have one of those. What do I have? I can get Grist, like I said. Yeah, maybe I just grab Grist here. If I Veil of Summer and then Zenith. Oh, but they can Ending a Grist. That wasn't even good. Whatever. I pitched Leovold to Force already. That would have been the one I wanted. But I guess Leovold lines up poorly against Narset anyway, so whatever. Endurance also doesn't do anything. Yeah, it's just Grist. Don't have a creature to sacrifice. But I can immediately get a card off of this in the form of Insect Token. That makes Food Chain better in the future. And they know about the Food Chain in my hand. So that leaves them with some sort of decision about the Prismatic Ending. Like, they know I have Food Chain eventually. Do they want to just make sure they never get Food Chained, or do they want to check Grist immediately? Opponent was in the tank for a very long time in my end step, and now they're starting to crack fetch lands. Okay, this looks like they are going to end the Grist. And red mana confirmed. We did see Volcanic Island game 1. We haven't seen red mana since then. Yeah, if they end the Grist, bounce Insect with Teferi, and then start brainstorming with Jace, they're probably just rolling. And at any point they find Days Undoing, they just whip that at me. There's the Insect bounce with Teferi. There's the Jace activation. 7 cards in their hand right now. No big deal. I kind of want to draw Walking Ballista, pick off Narset and get Uro going. But Eternal Scourge has been pretty solid on this battlefield. It is kind of nice having just 3 cards in exile that I can cast from anywhere, and also my hand being blanks, because I'm less worried about Days Undoing. Never mind that means I'm probably losing for sure, but I'm also not worried about Days Undoing. Savine's Wreck targeting Scalding Tarn. Okay. Yeah, the game's going to end quick now. Monastery Mentor has shown up. Land off the top gives me 6 mana. Ponder is not helpful. I'm probably going to Ponder anyway, just to look at my top cards. There is land number 6, but under it is multiple terrible cards. And Jace can plus to Fate Seal my land to the bottom, leaving me with these 2 bad lands. If that is where they want to go with that, I am going to shuffle my library, and then Eternal Scourge. I'm going to drop that one. I like Scourge more than Mist Hollow Griffin because they both make infinite mana, and the Scourge they can't put back in my hand. Like, they could bounce Mist Hollow Griffin and cast Days Undoing, and then it's gone. They can also Pyroblast Mist Hollow Griffin. There's just a lot of stuff that can happen to Mist Hollow that Eternal Scourge will come back from. That's why it's eternal. I just realized that the art of this card, it's like under a staircase in someone's creepy basement. I always thought it was just like floating in space or some weird Eldrazi noodle realm. Nope, just in your basement. That makes it so much spookier. Brainstorm. That must be nice to be able to cast that card. I am not allowed because my opponent has powerful planeswalkers in play. Brainstormed into Scalding Tarn. They do have Savine's Wreck over there that can bring back land and another Narset. And they can do it at instant speed with Teferi. Here's Ponder. They just crossed under 5 minutes on their clock, but I think Mentor will give them plenty of time to do what they need to do here. If they were just still spinning their wheels on the control game, that might be a concern, but I don't think that's going to come up here. And no blocks. I'll take the 7. Any turn that starts with Eternal Scourge in play is going to give me more options than any turn that doesn't. And it does not come back from my graveyard, just from exile. Okay, Food Chain, let's go. Guess I should have attacked first. Whoops, that was bad. Swords to Plowshares, okay. My creature can still be cast from that place. Okay, that's gone. How about Food Chain? Resolves. Land, surprise, Eternal Scourge. How'd we do? Boo, 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 casting spells. Force of Willing, my Eternal Scourge, and not my Food Chain. Is this lethal? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, they need one spell. I will let them come up with their one spell between Jace, Brainstorm, Teferi, Bounce, and Draw Step, and the Savine's Wreck that's already in the graveyard. Yeah, we're dead. Powerful Planeswalkers did the thing. I feel like if our deck was a little more focused, like either heavier on the black or heavier on the like Flash Bant deck, I think we would have done a little better, because right here we kind of don't have the power level of Dark Bant, but we're still affected by Blood Moon and these Planeswalkers, and only having 2 Prismatic Endings in the list instead of 4 and no Pyroblast. Yeah, I think like we saw Leovold and Grist be really good in other matchups, and I think that they kind of hurt us here. I wish we had more or less of that. Either no exposure to Blood Moon or more powerful spells to mitigate Blood Moons, or to be worth the risk to Blood Moon. Like right now we're sort of just like lose an angle of the deck to it without gaining a whole lot. That's a point against the Black Splash. Currently even, going into the final round. Let's go. I'm on the draw in the final round, playing for the positive record. This hand does a little bit of everything. I'm going to keep it. Matic Vista on a 7-card keep from the opponent. This, I'm going to Zenith for 0 off of non-basic land, because I don't want to have just 2 forests in play, just be mono green over here. Oh, okay. I was like, am I about to get opposition agented? Glad I didn't. I had the force, but that would have been annoying all the same. Hymn to Turok. Okay. Right, they got the Ponder, which they would have got anyway if I cast the Force of Will. Now I have Force of Will in my hand. If I draw a blue card... Oh, that might be even better. Okay, this is interesting. I could jam Food Chain and just threaten to go off at any point. I could hold up Endurance and try to be... Alright. Oh my god, why did I just fucking like knee-jerk attacked? Oh my god, that was just such a reflex. I meant to hold up Endurance. I'm probably going to lose now. Wow. I just saw an open board and clicked attack. That doesn't make any sense at all. I'm going to get hit by Liliana and then never be in this game again. Holy shit. Apologies to Dalton and the viewers for having to watch this occur. Wow, is this my own Lone Pox deck? Oh, no, it's not. All right. Grist. Really wish I had held up Endurance, because then I could have attacked Grist here. But here we are. What a dumbass. Okay. Manipulate Fate. The rules have just changed. I'm going to manipulate Griffin, Scourge, and I guess I want to cast Field of the Dead. I want to play Field of the Dead, because that the other lands come into play untapped. All right, moment of truth. Somebody's in trouble here. We played Yavimaya, which means field taps for green now. That might help me. They're attacking. Now what? Is this some sort of like natural order brew? What's going on here? Oh, they're just gonna kill my Dryad Arbor. That makes sense. Yeah, you should probably do that. That's a lot of mana with Food Chain in play. Termagurf, alright. This is just the rock. You love to see it. Unless they have Abrupt Decay, then you hate to see it. Right, I'm gonna play Misty Rainforest, fetch my Tundra, and just cast a Mist Hologriffin. I think this is better. This can pressure Grist. Like if I just jam Food Chain into Abrupt Decay, or I could counter an Assassin's Trophy, or Boseiju. That's a card there. Pretty reasonable to have. But I could just overwhelm them with shitters. Ooh, big mana. Liliana Death's Majesty. Create a zombie and mill 2 cards. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I think I just don't want to play against this. Force of Will seems good. That was a surprising card to see on the stack in a game of Legacy. Goyf's a 5/6. I can take 5 this time to kill Grist and then just have permanent Crazy Vigilance. And they tapped out to do this. Can attack first. Kill Grist. That's out of here. I can afford to ponder, so I will. Shuffle this. I'm just looking for something that actually wins the game. Shuffle into Abundant Growth. Not helpful. All right, Food Chain it is. And then I'm going to eat my Mist Hologriffin, play Mist Hologriffin. This is the fair version of this, where I basically just have 9 power and toughness that it has pseudo vigilance. Guess it'll save me some clicks to go with Eternal Scourge instead of Griffin. And I'm just going to cast these and pass the turn with them in play. I can flash an Endurance whenever I feel like it. The decks with Tarmogoyfs usually can't beat the fair side of Food Chain. Another busted Planeswalker. What is this shit? They're tapping a lot of mana again. This is the all dressed up and nowhere to go version. I hope I find somewhere to go with it. Abundant Growth is a redraw. Turok. Con Queso. Alright. Well, I'm gonna make green, green, green and cast Endurance. That will at least be 1 less discard. And get rid of their graveyard. Tarmogoyf got slightly smaller, but there's about to be an enchantment in the graveyard. So Tarmogoyf will be big again. Not that the size of Tarmogoyf particularly matters anymore. Oh, they had Boseiju also. Wow. Brutal. Okay. I'll get Dagoth Triome. It's cool that you can get that. I have not been able to fetch a Triome with a Boseiju trigger yet, but that was fun. Yeah, they had the mana floating to Boseiju. Oh, because Turok's a legend. That's where that came from. That's cool. I understand now. I'm caught up. Neat. I'm not mad about another land. I can... 3, 8, 9. I can just attack for 6 flying, play Eternal Scourge, put Yorion in my hand. Yeah, these don't have Forever Vigilance anymore, so my attacks aren't free. But I am going to make them. And cast Eternal Scourge. And put Yorion in hand. They are a discard deck. Unfortunate, but I'm not going to leave that mana unspent. I think that's the first time I've actually seen Boseiju's cost reduction in action. There's plenty of legends in the format. Like, I know it's a thing that can happen, but first time I've seen it. Cool. Voidwalker. Okay, what's your last card? Exile it with a Voidwalker instead. Can be cast from exile. Fucking deal. This should work. I mean, it's the same exile zone. Last card, here it comes. Pernicious Deed. Okay. Probably not what they're looking for. It will keep Field of the Dead under control. It's a giant disappointment. Finding Food Chain here would not be disappointing. Ooh. Is Yorion even good? I guess is the last question. Okay. I'm actually going to put Yorion in my deck and take another swing on shuffles. So I get 2 zombies here. Unfortunately, the deed does mop those up. I can get Mystic Sanctuary and put something on top, but I don't think brainstorming into Ponder here makes any sense. I'm just going to get another land. Guess I want Savannah. Maximize my options. And re-brainstorm. Jesus. Okay. Bad times. Attack for 6 flying. Maybe I'm supposed to put the fetch land on top, actually. Because if they have, like, Hymn to Tarok that can strip a land, now I have to work through all of those other 2 lands, where putting it on top, I'd end up with 2 either way. And cast this from exile. It's all good. It's all exile. They had played Voidwalker post-combat. I can't make that block. Okay, so they can... this is exactly the thing I said. God damn it. I love finding the line right after it matters. Classic BoshNRoll. But I do think I win now. Yeah, they just take a land. This gets a point bigger, and they're dead to my flyers. They're hellbent. There's nothing exiled with a void counter on it that can come out of this Voidwalker that I care about. I got rid of the Yorion, which also doesn't help them. I guess it's a big enough flyer. It might. They can deed for 0, which wipes out the tokens on both sides of the board. They can make a non-lethal attack with a bunch of creatures. Okay, block Tarok with Endurance and Goyf with Scourge. Didn't need to block Goyf, but it's free. They're out of cards in their hand. They're dead on board. Okay, that was a weird game. Weird deck, but I'm into it. Veil of Summer is going to be really good here. Okay, they got Voidwalkers to check Uro. I don't think I need Hull Breacher. Flusterstorm is really good against exactly Hymn to Tarok and no other card that I saw that game. Bummer. I guess it's just Veils. Yeah, Deafening Silence, Hull Breacher. None of these are useful. They don't have any islands to my knowledge. I do want all my removal still in the deck. I might not want Force of Negation, because actual Tarok being a creature is pretty scary, and then they have Voidwalker, which Force of Negation doesn't respect. I think these are the changes I'm going to make. I have felt throughout the league that this sideboard is lacking. Like, there's just been multiple leagues or multiple matches where the sideboard's like 2 cards instead of the 4 or 5 I'd like to see in most matchups. This board basically hard targeted combo, and we keep playing against various flavors of fair. I got a hand with a bunch of lands here. Force blue card. I'll basically keep any 7-card hand with anything resembling a plan against decks with Hymn to Tarok in it. Okay. I do like that. I'm going to play my Island Impasse. Robert. Okay. I have Prismatic Ending for this. This deck is great. Big fan of what they're doing over there. Prismatic Ending. Found a food chain along the way. That'll help someday. But we've seen Boseiju. Confirmed. Voidwalker. This is not a card I really want to play against. Please don't have Veil of Summer. Okay. The card's in the graveyard. Another food chain. That's too many. Abundant Growth, my island. Grist. I don't hate Grist. And I'll get Field of the Dead in now while it's not doing anything else. They've hit all their land drops. The bigger and bigger permanents are starting to drop. There's Goyf. They have 2 of them. Oof. That gets around Grist quite effectively. Towards the Plowshares off the top. Let's go. Veil of Summer, I don't hate. I have to fetch Forest off of this Grist. Or I could just play Grist with the lands I have available. Yeah, I'm just going to make a bug. Absorb some damage. Just mill to Swords to Plowshares. Fucking obviously. The Veil is nice, though. And Goyfs are exactly big enough to defeat Grist in combat. Magic's a beautiful game. I have to attack with both, which means I'm not going to block, because I just lose an insect for no reason, and the insect could represent mana off of Food Chain. Tarok time. Lose Zenith for 3. Gross. So Ramanap Excavator? I don't know what they're getting here. Leovold? I haven't seen any blue mana. It doesn't mean it's not Leovold. Alright, we have seen Grist. Grist, milled Pernicious Deed. Okay. Tundra. And I can play Food Chain here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different lands. I'm going to try to leave this fetch land uncracked, but I'm going to die to Goyf very quickly here. All right, thank you for that. Very excited for it. I'm going to get Zagoth Triome into play. That puts me 1 land away from being in the field. I am going to absorb a Tarmogoyf hit here. It's a 6/7. My god. So big. All right. Non-prismatic Vista fetch land off the top just gives me 3 zombies immediately. Zenith for 1. Ignoble Hierarch. All right. Need another insect. They have not cast a black spell, so I can't cantrip off Veil here. Come on, fetch land. First of Plowshares is not the worst card I've ever seen, but it's also not good. Okay, green. And I have Plow for Goyf. That can keep me alive another turn, kind of. Yeah, this is rough. Tough crowd. If they Besage me again, I'm in the field, though, and get 2 zombies. Grist is milling. I'm going to plow one of these Goyfs. Take 8. I'm at 4. There's 1 creature in the graveyard for Grist next turn, but I'm also dead on board. On land. Land with a different name. Won't even be picky about a fetch land anymore. Wow, I've never seen this card in my life. What is this? Return Shigeki to its owner's hand. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them on the battlefield tap. Put the rest into your graveyard. Channel, return X target non-legendary cards from your graveyard to your hand. That's pretty fire. Okay. You have Shigeki. And Pernicious Deed. Okay, so now I'm just mega dead. Don't even really want to show them Veil of Summer. I can cast it to draw a card, but I guess like Burrow or Endurance could move this game forward. Okay, I am going to cast Veil as a cantrip because they did cast a black card. And okay, that is a zombie. And 1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, zombie's only worth 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't get Yorion into play as much as I'd love to. Yeah, I am dead to the insects. I guess they have to use Pernicious Deed, which kills the insects, if they want to get through to me here with the Goyf. Or they could just turn all their creatures sideways. They could sack Ignoble Hierarch to Grist to kill zombie. Yeah, I'm dead in like 100 different ways here. Okay. They figured it out. I'm out of here. My deck is not really prepared to fight against Tarmogoyf. At least the removal suite isn't. I do need to get on board and stay there. And nothing in my sideboard really helps with that either. I can Flusterstorm Green Sun Zenith. So now I've seen Zenith and him, which are 2 engines in their deck that Flusterstorm lines up against. That's something I'm more interested in than I was a second ago. And I kind of like Noble Hierarch on the play. Uh-oh, I'm out of cards I want to cut. I could cut Krasis or Ballista. Those are my payoffs for getting Food Chain going, but I'm probably not going to get Food Chain going. Do I shave a Food Chain and try to let Uro cook? Ballista can kill Turok and Dothi Voidwalker pretty well, but Hydroid Krasis is a great way to spend mana. That's tricky. I could cut the Loam. It's just a 1-of anyway, and they're a Voidwalker deck. The Loam is so good if they're on any sort of mana destruction plan, which I haven't seen yet. I haven't even seen a Wasteland out of them, which doesn't mean they don't have it, but it's a big deal. This feels so wrong. Like, I feel like this deck is built to beat up on people playing fair, and boarding out my Food Chain to play extra fair is a giant mistake. I believe that. What's the statistical significance of 80 versus 81 cards? Oh my god. 81 card special, let's go. I just really don't want to cut the Loam, and it's the last card that I would be willing to cut. I could go to 1 Noble Hierarch, but that card's pretty good if it's in my opener. I'm going to keep this one. Little Veil of Summer action. I haven't seen 1 mana interaction out of them yet. I'm going to drop the Zagoth Triome and hope they don't have Thoughtseize. Just passing the turn. Love to see it. I'm going to play Misty Rainforest and pass. Just got to watch out for Dark Ritual Opposition Agent. which means I'm not going to jam my spell right away. Okay, that works out well for me. I get to brainstorm in response. Doing this in response so it ends up in my graveyard. Then put back Basic Plains and Misty Rainforest. I'm going to fetch for Tundra. Yeah, Tundra. And plow this thing. Doing all of this now. So then it resolves. And I can plow it. Get it out. And the way Swords to Plowshares works is that the Voidwalker is out of play before plow ends up in the graveyard, so it does go to the graveyard. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna ponder. Try to, like, I have Food Chain and Crisis here. The squad is together. I'm probably gonna want Prismatic Ending, and I definitely want Brainstorm. I'll play Misty Rainforest and pass here. Prismatic Ending's on the top of my deck with Endurance under it. They're just passing the turn. Gotta be good for me, right? I guess it could be Opposition Agent, which is horrible for me because I am currently don't have an answer to it. Is that a card I think they have? Oof, I guess I'm just passing the turn. I'm not going to fetch into it. Zenith for 1. Okay. Ignoble Hierarch is here. I'm going to Brainstorm in the end step. If they want to Opposition Agent me here, it's going to require a Dark Ritual to do. I can't quite win the game here. You can pitch Endurance for 0 and eat it for 4 off Food Chain for like kind of a surprise burst of mana. But I'm going to put back Plains and Endurance. Then I'm going to draw Endurance for turn and use Loam to hit my land drop. I'm going to fetch off the Prismatic Vista first. If they do have Oppo Agent, I want them to get the less good land. Get Basic Island. Fetch for Basic Forest. I want Basic Forest? Yeah, because I'm going to Basic Forest here. I'll make it Snow Forest, make them think about Ice-Fang Coatl. Play from the Loam for the full 3. And I am not going to play any of these cards. I'm going to hold up Endurance. Try to play that kind of game. That Liliana is kind of annoying. But I do have Endurance versus the reanimation mode of that card. Pernicious Deed, okay. They attack with Ignoble Hierarch. I'm going to jam Endurance so hard. It's time. I want Tropical Island. Just has to be double green, and I do have that. I can target myself with Endurance, which I lose Loam, but Goyf becomes nothing. Yeah, I do kind of like that. I mean, Loam trying to hit Uro is a strat here, but I don't think I want to be dredging just to find Uro. My hand is like pretty solid already. Another Prismatic Ending. I can clear this Deed before it does anything. I like that. Okay, I'm going to attack with Endurance. Now that I've untapped, Abrupt Decay and Assassin's Trophy don't play. Prismatic Ending. White, green. Get rid of that. They can pop it for some small number to end up in the graveyard rather than exile, which grows Tarmogoyf and helps any graveyard stuff they have. Just busting it for 0. Story checks out. And I'm going to continue holding up Veil of Summer. Tarmogoyf, it's Tarmogoyf. I'm leaving my fetch land uncracked because I don't know the top of my deck and I could draw Field of the Dead. And I get 2 zombies right away. Alright. That is the W if they have nothing. What do I think the chances are that they have nothing? Like, they've been showing Beseiju pretty hard this whole time. Do I mind if they Beseiju me? I guess is the follow-up question. I guess if I lead on Mist Hollow Griffin, does that even matter? I could just Mist Hollow and exile Tarmogoyf. That sounds pretty good, actually. White, exile Goyf, attack for 3 with Endurance. And then I have Griffin. And they're not really pressuring me. I don't care if they show me Beseiju. They are representing Opposition Agent still, but I can fetch in response. Like, it's no longer devastating if they have that card. Leaving Savannah and Basic Forest in my deck to cast Veil of Summer with if I need to. Yeah, these are the kind of fair Food Chain games that you register this deck to have. They're probably sitting over there on Beseiju and whatever the hell, and I'm just like, nah, don't need that. If they've been sandbagging Opposition Agent like a boss this whole time and have like Turok plus Oppo Agent here, That's also a pretty good one. That's like all of my lands are now under choke. There are non-island lands in the deck, but they are behind on board. And if I resolve this food chain, we're cooking. All right, now I have Force of Will to back up my situation here. Yeah, so I have Force to stop one thing, Veil to stop a removal spell, and they're on a 2-turn clock. They can have that because Mistala Griffin still beats it. I need to save my Force for things that I can't beat otherwise. Urborg. So everything is a swamp now, but some things are still islands. Okay, I can cast Food Chain now if I think that is actually good or important. I still think holding up Veil of Summer is more important. Yeah, Food Chain, if they have nothing, Food Chain is infinite here. I guess there are plenty of lands that I can get. All right, yeah, I am going to go for Food Chain. The only reason I wouldn't go for it is being worried about Boseiju. But Boseiju gives me the green for Veil of Summer. And it makes them hellbent. Yeah, I don't even care about Boseiju here. Yep, there it is. Don't even care. Use the ability to get Savannah. Okay. Yeah, that was basically just Raven's Crime plus Rampant Growth. All good. Now they're all the way empty. Run afoul. That's like a little annoying. Is it game ending? If I don't counter this, what happens? Like, Uro is locked under the choke like for a very long time. Yeah, I think I actually do have to counter this. That's annoying. But that's why we have Force Will in the deck. Yeah, Food Chain would have ignored that problem. They can't really attack, because if they attack for 5, I put them to 1. Field of the Dead wins this game on the spot. Ponder's not great. I'm going to attack with my Griffin and put Yorion in my hand. I can do that without tapping any islands. Yorion in my hand. Tap all these cool swamps that I have. Thanks, opponent. I can cast Yorion. No, I can't. I'm 1 mana short of casting Yorion. Oh god, they back-to-back to run afoul? Alright, fine. You get it this time. It's dead. So now I need to find an Uro or something to exile that. They're still losing the race, though. Like, gotta deal with Endurance and then Yorion after that. Oh, these Ponders. What is even in my deck for choke? Like, I can keep chilling here, or I can play Ponder. My Prismatic Endings, I did send them both back into my deck with the Endurance earlier. Zenith is a very exciting card I can draw if I have lots of mana. I think I want to just hold. Yeah, this choke is really good, as it tends to be. Let's just hope their next card they draw lines up poorly against Veil of Summer. I can't imagine they would have boarded out all their Turok-related cards after seeing Veil in Game 2. Still no attacks, just Drago magic. Oh, Abundant Growth lets me cast Ponder if I find one of those without tapping an island. Noble Hierarch, yeah, that is blue mana next turn too. I do have a couple ways to cast blue spells without an island. We did it. Starting to figure it out. Endurance still too small to get through Tarmogoyf's giant booter. Turok Con Queso. Alright, well, I'll Veil of Summer that. I drew Uro. Turok fizzles. 1 card left in their hand. Now I have the really interesting choice of going for Uro, which over multiple turns can get Mistala Griffin back in the game. Or I could Ponder, try to find a removal spell. I think I want to Ponder. Oh, Grist is a good one. But no, it's not, because, right, I need a Zenith. Or a Food Chain. Yeah, I'll take a Food Chain. Not mad about it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Food Chain is also green mana. Or blue mana. Or white, or whatever I need. So, fetch with Misty Rainforest. I'm going to get a green. And then I can go blue, blue, green, play Uro. Uro triggers. And put in Flooded Strand. And I could eat Uro and play Yorion, or I could just stop. I think I want to stop. I can also play this island and try to ponder into a griffin or something, or a recruiter. Okay, do not shuffle this. And then I can recruit for recruiter, which doesn't quite go off. Oh, yeah, it does. Okay. Exile endurance, play recruiter. Recruiter. Oh, yeah, this doesn't actually go off. Why did I think this works? Yeah, you can't actually tutor for any of the things that you want to. Alright, so I can exile, I can make green off of this recruiter, and then I'm going to make blue off of this recruiter, and I can play Uro. That's a thing I can do. I'm going to run out of time here, but I am going to try to do this and make blue, or, yeah, they're at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, I actually have the win here, if I can click fast enough. Okay, here's Uro. That exiles Mist Hollow Griffin. Uro triggers, and yeah, this is the win if I can click fast enough. Exile Uro. 2 minutes should be enough time to do this if I stay calm. Exile Griffin. Exile Griffin. And I am not going to take any precautions here due to the clock. I'm going to do this for exactly 8. Ballista for 4. Ping you. All right, and the last round, last game, we got an actual food chain kill. Ooh. We used every part of the deck on that one. 3-2, a positive record with this half Yorion Zenith, half food chain deck. Grist and Leovold did have their heroic moments, but I would rather see this as a Bant deck. Like, having seen it in action and like the Grist being awkward, like I couldn't get Grist off of a cantrip that last game when it would have been good because there's just no natural black sources in the deck. My Triumph was already tapped and I didn't have a abundant growth and I just had to get rid of that card. If we rebuild this without the Zenith package and just as Bant food chain, we would lose Zenith, Primetime, Leovold, Grist, add 4 Coatls to this, add the 4th Uro to this. I think Triome is still fine because it's a different name for Field of the Dead. I don't think we get these basic forests and the non-snow basics. Like, Field of the Dead is still a thing, but there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 different land names in the deck. Having Death Touch is going to be frequently more relevant against like the Delver metagame than having Field of the Dead active on exactly turn 7 is. I'm okay with that situation. I want more removal in this deck too. Gotta figure out where it's coming from. Manipulate Fate is such a banger, and there's only 3 of them. I guess Noble Hierarch gets a lot worse if you're without the Zenith. Like, now it's just a 2 of that you can sometimes have in your opening hand, but it's never going to be like Rampant Growth with your Zenith. Dryad Arbor gets a whole lot worse too. Okay, so Dryad Arbor gets cut. And if we shave these Noble Hierarchs, that gives us Swords to Plowshares and 2 more Prismatic Endings. Now we're a little slower. We don't have Zenith to ramp, whether it's for Dryad Arbor or Noble Hierarch. That's just not a line anymore. All of our land drops are going to come honestly, at least until turn 3 when we start doing Uro stuff. And we now have significantly more cards in the deck that combo with Yorion in the Icefang Coatl department. And the combo is still intact enough. There's 3 Manipulate Fates, 3 monsters that go off with Food Chain, 2 payoffs for that, both of which are totally fine if you just have a bunch of mana and you're not doing anything else. Like, Uro into a Hydroid Crisis for 6 is still just like a reasonable thing on a stable board state. Walking Ballista can win a game naturally, or at least play a role. If you use one of these things early, you can endurance them back into your deck to search up later. I like that little synergy. And now that we added functionally 1, 2, 3, 7 removal spells to the main deck, I'm going to be happier with where we are against fair decks in the main, and I don't mind the sideboard being a hard target at combo anymore. Like previously, the main deck was a little soft to fair because it just didn't have a lot of removal or interplay, and the sideboard needed to pick up slack that it wasn't able to do, but now we're able to cover that gap a little bit. I like this. I'm going to leave this as my rebuild, post-league rebuild, cutting the black, just becoming Bant Yorion that also represents food chain. If you want to be 4-color and you want to play the black cards, I'll post both lists, but this is where I'd rather be if I'm going to do this sort of thing. This was a cool league. We got to do 4-color Zenith things, we got to do loam things, we got to do food chain things, and it all sort of intermixed in a way that was not embarrassing. We had some fair plays with Mist Hollow Griffin. We pitched Griffin to Force at least once. We exiled Griffin to Uro more than once. That feels like $1 million every time it happens. Just this free money. Uro draws 2 cards when you escape it instead of just 1. The old food chain decks with Deathrite Shaman, that was a thing you could do, where Miss Hollow Griffin, you could lose it in combat, eat it with Deathrite, recast it, and Uro's kind of filling that role here. I love it. I'm going to leave it there. Tune your sideboard for your metagame. This sideboard is just a bunch of generically powerful cards with no specific plan in mind other than hose combo. But I think the main deck's in a much better spot now to play fair and engage on more fair terms while threatening to food chain. I'm into it. I'm leaving it there. Dalton, thank you for this league. I had a lot of fun. You know me, always happy to play Bant decks in various formations. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, check out the Discord. All those things are there. And I'll see you next time.